I'm one of those people that has always been told that I should do testimonials or write a story and tell people what I experienced because it's just unbelievable. But I don't want to be one of those people in the limelight or telling my story so people can say, oh, she went through this and, she's just looking for attention. It takes away from the story. It takes away from the lesson, not the story. Everything in life is a lesson. We experience things so that we can enlighten ourselves and others around us, whether it be your parents, your children, your friends, your coworkers, or strangers. We experience what we experience so that as a group, as a society, we can move forward. But current society focuses more on self and on appearances and does not do justice to the power of kindness and love and forgiveness. These are dark times where kids and adults feel alone and lost and take their lives to the point where people are almost desensitized about it. Like, oh, well, we'll give you some therapy. Do you need some time off? I'll check on you for another 6 months. And once I see that, you're not impacted by this, I can just move on with my life. And if there's 80% or 90% of people like that just moving on, that 20% or 10% of people are pretending to move on because they don't want to make it seem like they couldn't, and they're lost in the dark. And then it's just a cycle that keeps repeating itself, and there's no light, there's no kindness, there's no smile, there's no joy. So sad. And we want to pull people out of the darkness. We want to pull as many people as possible. This is the year of clarity. That's what our pastor says. And during this year, a lot of things will come out. Those that you feel were your friends or they loved you, true colors will shine. And those that you felt weren't there for you will be the ones that will be in your corner. And you'll find that light as long as you can survive through the darkness and know that you're not alone. So, what do I mean by not alone? Christ is with us at all times. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost is a real thing, a power that is stronger than all the things that are out there trying to drown you. And it doesn't matter what you call him or whether you believe in him. As long as he deems that you are part of his plan, he will bring you to him through life. Some people take the hard road, some people take the easy road and know right away. But life is the biggest teacher, and it shows you the direction. My son told me the other day he didn't know how to pray. All it is a conversation. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Talk to him, tell him what it is, and then at the end you just say, in Jesus' name, we pray, amen. I say thank you for giving me all green lights on the way to work. Thank you for allowing this car not to run into me. Thank you for just allowing me to wake up. I mean, I'm thankful for everything because truthfully and honestly, with the life that I lived, it's a miracle for me to have been a single mom crying with my little 1-year-old at 17, trying to figure out how I was going to make it. And now that same 1-year-old is 25 and has a career, the beginning of a career, but it's a career. He's lived on his own. He has his apartment. And although he makes mistakes, he is so much better than I was at his age. And I'm just so happy and proud. And I could say the same thing for my other 25-year-old on my husband's side. I'm just so proud in his self-confidence and his entrepreneurship and his ability to find a way to improve himself regardless of the situation. And the fact that we are able to look at our kids today, and I was single, but now I'm married, obviously, is just amazing that God has put us together and balanced us out so we were able to raise these kids to be who they are. And that's important because you get a lot of information that says, oh, you're in a relationship, you should stay in that relationship, even if, you're getting hit, or he's cheating on you, or he's wasting all your money, and you have to work twice as hard, and you have to pray for the Lord to correct the situation and all of that stuff. But some situations can't be corrected. Some people were not meant to be in your life forever. And the person who is meant to be with you will find you, whether it takes a year, a decade, 2 decades, because that's the path that you're on. It's just that you took too many detours, maybe a couple of U-turns. It took me 11 years to get out of a dysfunctional relationship with my first baby daddy, where I was his side chick for the whole time. Like, he trained me. How retarded is that? But anyway, getting distracted again. We want to tell a story, many stories, but mostly we want to teach lessons to the young, to the old, to the lost, to the found. We want to bring everyone to Christ if you want to go. But hopefully you will, because then you'll have company in the hard times. You'll have faith in the darkness when you're completely all alone. And it's so hard to have faith and move forward when you can't afford to pay your lights, and your car is about to be repoed, or credit cards are all maxed out, or you don't have the money to buy a gallon of milk. Oh my goodness. So when you're at one extreme and you're so lost, and there's nobody with you, there actually is someone there. He's helping you, he's holding you, he's saying, if you just follow me, if you listen to me, if you just give me a chance, I will show you the light. I will take you forward. Don't focus on the now. Focus on the end game. Look at where I'm going to take you. Listen to what I'm putting into your heart. Anyway, again, I'm getting distracted and emotional. So, things we want to talk about on this podcast are the amount of information that's out there. People want to sell you. They don't want to give you. They want to sell you the way to become a millionaire. They want to sell you how to become an entrepreneur. They want to sell you how to lose weight. They want to sell you how to be healthier. By you buying into this stuff, some of it, I'm not going to say all of it, you are making them wealthier. They're definitely making six figures off of you people buying or subscribing to how they managed to do this, or how it can help you. And then they have disclaimers. Well, you're going to be successful if you pay attention, if you implement it, if you do this, but there's nothing that's guaranteed. Of course, nothing's guaranteed. The only thing that's guaranteed is Christ's loving you, God's loving you. That's it. Everything else is up in the air. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Waking up today wasn't promised. Waking up tomorrow isn't promised. Crossing the street and getting to the other side isn't promised. We live in a world where there's a war going on like 12 hours away from us, and we just live our life like it can't affect us, but it can. It can grow to the point where it comes to where we are. We just take for granted that it's not here right now. I also want to talk about aspirations. Why do we limit ourselves? Why is our aspirations to look more than we are instead of being more than we are? We could achieve so much if we aspire to be better people, to walk in love and in forgiveness, to help those around us, and to grow together, not as a race of people, but as all people. Like my neighbor, if we can have a business together, if we could build this fence together, if you need this help, if you need me to drop you off somewhere, okay, why not? Why? Because I don't know you. I've lived there for like 7, 8 years, and we just say hi and bye, but we not close enough to be able to depend on each other. That's where society has veered off and gone to different avenues, making it where we're all in a silo and unable to lean on someone, and you feel like you're drowning instead of having a support system. Like, you could support a stranger. There's no reason that this person that looks sad doesn't deserve a hello, a hi, a how are you? Is everything okay? I've given people hugs that my husband's like, you don't even know this person. Why? I'm like, because they needed a hug. I just felt compelled. we all have an inner spirit that's telling us what we should do. Stay away from this person, go in this direction, save this person, ask this person, do this, give this $5, give this 100, give this 10, buy this person food, whatever. But most of the time, we don't want to listen to that because we say, how can I give you $10 when I need this $10? How am I going to get on the subway? How am I going to do this? How am I going to eat? Even if you're not at that point, oh, well, I need this in case of an emergency. I mean, what happens if my car breaks down? What happens if I lose my job tomorrow? What happens? What happens? What happens? Life is going to happen. And if we just spend so much time worrying about the future and the what ifs and how to get there, you lose focus of the now. And I definitely was one of those persons before my husband. When my kids were younger, I took them to work with me. I made them crush boxes and work in the archive and sit there coloring and stuff because to me, making that time and a half was so much more important than taking them to the park. I'm not saying I didn't do stuff, but I took them to like Six Flags and I let them run around on the weekends, or I would take them to matinees and stuff like that. But when I wasn't doing anything with them, I was at work and I was paying babysitters. They spent more time with the babysitters than they did with me. So I missed the beginning of my kids' childhood until my husband came along and slowed me down because he was all about spending time with the kids. So much more important than work to him. That's what God does. That's what life does. It brings you what you need to balance you and center you as long as you allow it. I also want to cover values and morals. You think about values and morals, and I know what morals are, and I know what values are. You don't go out there and be a whore, and you don't steal, and you don't do this, and you don't do that. But see, these are all things that the schemas and society has told you or put on you instead of looking at the whole big picture, like stealing, for instance. Let's take Aladdin. So Aladdin stole because he was hungry and just wanted something to eat. Is that wrong? Would it be better if you bought it? Of course. Best case scenario, somebody would have bought it and gave it to him because they had it. But instead, he had to steal just so that he could fill his belly. There's many movies where children steal and then take it back to where they're staying and they give it to little sisters or brothers or other kids that are also on the street. Yes, they had to steal. They stole because they had no other way. There's a song back when I was growing up, City High. It's like about this girl who gets knocked up and she becomes a call girl because of the fact she has to feed her kid. Like she's like, what do you do when your kid's at home crying because he's hungry? You're going to do whatever you have to do. So do you judge her? Do you have a right? I mean, you're definitely going to judge her, but do you have a right to judge her? No. It's not your decision. It's her path that she's walking. It's the lesson that she has to learn. It's her value that she has to build up. But there was no one there to help her and teach her or guide her, really. That's why she was in that situation. Some of us are lucky where you have people before you that can lead you, guide you. And some of us are even luckier where they listen to those people that are trying to guide you. But more often than not, because of the silos that we are in, it's difficult for someone to believe in the trust that's offered or believe in the words that people say or have the confidence to say, okay, I can make it another way. I can do it differently, or what they're saying is the truth. It's easier to believe that there is no other way and that the only value you have is your body or donating blood or donating sperm or just selling off stuff in your house. Like there is no other way, but there's always a way if you really want to move forward. Common sense. That will also be touched on at some point because common sense is not common. People constantly say, well, that was common sense. Why would you do that? Oh, great example. Stacking dishes. Small bowls should go into the medium bowls, and the medium bowls should go into the big bowls. And then, they all come together nicely, take a little bit of space. And then you get that one child that's just like, Ma, it doesn't fit in the cabinet because they done put like the small bowls in the middle. So the medium bowls won't go inside the big bowls. And it's just like teetering and about to fall. Common sense is not common to everyone. So you have to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that their version of common sense is the same to avoid confusions and misunderstandings. And this is with everyone, with, again, parents, children, co-workers, strangers. Just a little bit goes a long way. Besides that, there'll also be things like talking about birthday parties and raising kids and dressing kids like grown adults instead of the children that they should be. Not everything we say will be liked, especially when we forget ourselves and forget to be PC. But we just want to share what we feel is information that's needed to society and have fun at the same time. So now I'll tell you about myself. I've lived in a very dysfunctional situation for many years, fast forwarding to me getting knocked up at 15 and moving out and finding out how hard it was to be a teenage mom. Ended up in the foster care system, aged out, and I went from working jobs like Sabaros and Target to working in an investment bank where I'm currently a VP, which is just a title. They're handing them out these days. In addition to that, me and my husband have 5 wonderful kids that I'm extremely proud of. And I'm just thankful and grateful that the life that we've managed to build together. And we want to share with people how we got here and our struggles and hope that there's a lesson in it for whoever needs to hear it because is hard and there's a lot of information coming from all types of sides. It's like everybody wants to give you their opinion. Everybody wants to say you need 2 million, 5 million to be successful, to be rich, to be wealthy. I mean, I definitely ain't nowhere near that. Like, shoot, please. Quarter of a million, half a million, three-quarters of a million, those things are like dreams and aspirations. Like, hopefully, we luck up on the market. Oh my goodness. And most people can't even invest in the market or they don't know how. And you follow the trends. And then some of these articles are just written out there so that they could drive up the price before they sell off. And then you're the one who gets stuck holding this worthless stock. Everything's a scheme. Not everything. I'm sorry. I have to watch my words. So many things are just smoke screens or manipulation or people driving what they want. When they want to drive up a price, they tell people to buy something. When they want to make it lower, they tell you to sell it. And then, when you sell all the stock and the price goes down because now it's not worth anything, here comes somebody, scoops it all up. And when it turns around, boom, guess who made the money? Not you. So don't believe everything that's out there. You have to learn to differentiate between what's real and what's not. It's like see through the bullshit. It's so hard. When people talk, maybe 5% of what they're saying is true. When you read an article, maybe 3% of what's written in there is relevant or true or worthy. Or, people are trying, or there's groups of people, I should say, that are trying to drive everything, trying to drive what you feel, what you eat, what you feel is okay. Why is it that here in America they're allowed to put all the stuff in our food and everything just tastes so different than when you go overseas and potato chips taste like potatoes and like soda is like, whoa, what is this? This is a Sprite. They don't carry a lot of the stuff that we deem as normal, and even finding water that I felt was drinkable was difficult. And my son pointed out maybe our water tastes different and is abnormal. And I'm just so used to it that it's hard to drink actual good water. Mind blowing, right? That's insane and sad. But anyway, the point is life has presented us with so many opportunities and so many experiences that we want to share and hopefully enlighten or help anyone who needs it. I mean, if you're still listening, hopefully you've gotten something so far. As far as today's episode, well, let's finish it off talking about finances. So, it's so hard because you have to have this emergency fund, you have to have this retirement fund, you have to invest, you have to not carry debt. And it's like, how do you do all of these things? You want to buy a house, you got your car, Hopefully you don't have a $600 or $800 car payment. Insanity for a car. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. Money, money. So many things that we have to do. So budgets are important. They're very important. Putting down how much you get on your take home, putting and paying your mortgage first, or mortgage, rent, whatever it is that you have, putting anything that can be paid with a credit card on a credit card and then paying it in full. That means instead of paying your gas of $200 with cash, you put it on a credit card and then you use that same $200 to pay the credit card off right away, and you get the points. So that $200, you just got $20 back depending on the card, or even if it's $2, it all adds up. If your credit card does not have points, don't keep it. Introductory offers as far as 0% interest. If you actually have good credit, they will send you offers for 0% interest credit cards for 12 months, 15 months, 18 months, 21 months. Do you know what that is to get a credit card with 21 months of interest free? And then they give you a limit that they want you to drown, but that's where you have to have self control. You always have to have self control when you're dealing with cash and when you're dealing with credit. But you should always pay everything off and have $0 in your spending account and pay everything that you have to pay to avoid paying interest. Then anything that's left over is going into your savings, right? But savings shouldn't be last. So you're actually going to have a set amount of savings that's always going to go in there first. And then anything that's left over after everything else will also go into your savings. Now, if you run up those credit cards to the point where it's like, oh my God, what do I have to do? I got 3 months to pay it off. And I'm not going to be able to pay off this balance, then the additional savings should go towards the card. And you will have to pull out some of the money that you put in savings priorly, but all this time, whether it be the 12 months, the 18 months, or the 21 months, you have been collecting interest on that money, hopefully in a high yield savings account or in a CD with a high interest rate. So that way it kind of balances out. You made money off of it. You were able to purchase something without it paying any interest to the company, and then you clear it before you give away money that you don't want to give away, because paying interest to anyone is giving them money. They're lending you money and then charging you this rate so that you can use their money on credit. That's exactly what a credit card is. So you're making other people richer when you don't pay your balances in full. That's debt. If you are currently carrying credit card debt, pay as much off as possible. Don't put it in the savings account, because you're only going to make a little bit of interest in comparison to the interest rate that you're paying. It's not worth it at all. And if you have high limits, so like your minimum is $125, that means that when you make your payment, it's not even be $5 is going to your principal. It's not worth it at all. So you can use the snowball. You pay off the small ones first and then hit the big ones, or the waterfall. You hit the big ones first and then roll it down, whichever one works for you. Carrying credit card debt is bad. Once you get your credit card debt out the way, you don't need to focus on your student loans unless it's like a 12% or something like that. Paying down mortgages, it's a long-term endeavor, so it's better to use that money towards building your emergency fund. You can start your emergency with 500 and your other savings, so they should not be in the same place, with $200, and then you could put $200 in one and $100 in the other. You should always put more in your emergency fund, because obviously that is for emergencies. The other savings is where you're going to pull money out from if you need something. If you decide you want to take a quick trip to New York because there's a $98 flight and you found a room for $100, you're going to pull that out of your other savings, not out of your emergency savings, because that is not an emergency. That is a want. There's a difference between want and needs. Your emergency fund is to cover needs. If your car breaks down and you need to pay your deductible, or you need to get something repaired, if your tire blows out, those are needs versus wants. Okay. So we have a need account, a want account. You're not carrying any credit card debt. You're paying it off So you put everything on your credit card, your milk and all of that stuff, and then you pay off that $1,000 bill. Astronomical, right? But right now you're spending that $1,000 and then paying somebody $100 in interest to use their money. That's even more astronomical. Once you have 6 months in emergency of expenses. So some people say you do income, some people just say you do expenses. But when you get to 6 months of expenses, you can take out a percentage. I won't say what percent, whatever you're comfortable with, 10, 25, 50, no more than 50, and put that in an investment account. Fidelity has investment options that are free or low expense, and Schwab's has the same, and their minimum is 5,000. Fidelity doesn't have a minimum, but if you get more than 25K, then they start charging you a fee. It's a small fee, but I feel for most of us, reaching that 25K mark is like a big joke, so it's not something to worry about. Now, eventually it won't feel like a joke anymore, but at first that's like, when will I have 25K? How can I possibly get 25K with all of this savings that I have to do, paying off this bill, my everyday living, taking the train, paying for gas, whatever it is, buying my lunch, buying my coffee, doing this, doing that. Astronomical. Just the cost of living. Inflation is driving us insane. Well, you can step back and be more humble. You can look and say, I don't need this stuff. You can sell what you don't need, as far as to thrift stores or those people that buy it, clothes if you have them and stuff like that. Anyway, it's okay to have less. It's okay to use the same clothes and then like upgrade your wardrobe or get new clothes every 6 months or every year or whatever, because these things aren't going to make or break you, and they're just things that you need to use. They have literally no value. By not buying that Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts coffee, you save like almost $12 these days, like $4 maybe for the coffee, then all the stuff you buy on the side because you went in there and you saw it, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. Same thing, bring your lunch or buy something cheaper, buy something that's on sale. There's ways, if you try to find them. Every person's different, right? It's cheaper to eat at one place, but it might be more convenient and the food is better at the place that costs more. Are you going to sacrifice it? Are you going to cook at home? These are decisions that you have to decide. How important is saving for that emergency or investing or that miscellaneous fund, right? So that miscellaneous fund is what's going to send you to Jamaica and what's going to send you to Italy and what's going to send you to London and what's going to send you to Egypt. That's where you're going to be able to go on vacation, not pay ridiculous interest and drown in more debt because you wanted to take a moment out and relax and enjoy what you've accomplished in life. Once you've accomplished it, you can't do it early. You can't go when you don't have all of these things in order, when you haven't saved up the money, because all you're doing is driving yourself into further debt. Once you get out of debt and have these accounts saved up, all these offers are going to just keep coming, because the businesses, the rich people, the algorithms want people to drown in debt. That's the American dream, because then it keeps America making money. Capitalism, money, money, money makes money, money. Us little people are drowning, but the people at the top are making killer interest, and they're investing in things before we know about it, and they're paying financial advisors and planners and people to manage their money so that they can make more money, and doing all the stuff that we little people can't even dream of. And then you read these articles, like if you research it once, now all of a sudden it's telling you, oh, you need 2.5 million, you need to invest $100,000. If you have $10,000, put it here, put it there, put it there. And then all of a sudden you lost $10,000 because you listened to this article. Take Tesla. Sorry, but it's a perfect example. If you invested in Tesla really early, then you were killing it. Oh my God, you felt like you hit the jackpot and it was like the next Apple. And then Tesla had all this stuff happen and the price went down, and people were like, oh, jump on it because the price is lower and like it's going to go back up. So then the price went down and down and down. And those people who bought in the middle are like crying, and then it finally started coming back up, and now it's going back down. It didn't even touch the previous buy for some of those middle, especially the ones that bought when it was higher. Now people are saying, sell Tesla, all these articles and stuff. But what if once it hits the bottom price, like I said before, someone just comes along and buys up all these shares, or they're already buying them at this low price, and then something's going to come out, Tesla's going to have a new car, there's going to be an opportunity, there's merger or this or that, and the ones making the money are not us. It's not us little guys that only invested 100, 200, 3,000, 5,000. We're impacted, but we're not aware of what's really going on. We're just pawns in a big game. So taking a step back, breathing, watching the market, looking at the trends, trying to understand it, doing research, listening to the right podcast and the right people that are giving this information for free. I trust the free people more than I trust the people selling it to you. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but knowledge is power, and we should all be empowered. Start small. Rome wasn't built in a day, neither will your bank account. It takes perseverance, patience. Thanks for tuning in to His, Hers, and Ours, Hers Edition. I hope you were able to get some knowledge and courage from me. Remember to subscribe and like us on Instagram and Facebook. Also, share this with anyone who needs this information.